Oh shit, I forgot where I left off. Lewis Mumford shows that certain of our inventions cannot be improved, that the possible domain of mechanical activity cannot be extended, and that mechanical progress is limited by the nature of the physical world. This last is true, but we are far from knowing the total possibilities of the physical world. And after Mumford had written that statement 15 years ago, servo mechanisms, radar, and atom smashing were discovered. It is obvious that the augmentation of machines cannot be unlimited, but so as not to rest our hopes on an alleged stagnation, it will be enough for this progress to continue for another century. What is true of mechanical techniques is also true of economic techniques. I agree fully with the remarks of Leon Hugo Dupré when he points out the error of the stagnationists of Wolff, for example, who writes, "The law of the limit of technico-economic development is that past progress closes the door to future progress. For future progress, there remains in every case only a margin, only a fraction, indeed only a small fraction, of past progress." Dupree's exposure of the error of statements like this seems to me so convincing that I shall content myself with referring the reader to his work. On the other hand, Lewis Mumford shows, and from another perspective, this is also Colin Clark's thought, that the best organization will tend to reduce the use of certain machines. This is rigorously exact, but this best organization is precisely technique itself, and, moreover, it comprises a mechanical element as well. When Faraste announces an augmentation of the tertiary non-mechanized sector, the extraordinary progress of administrative mechanization of the last 10 years must be considered. This mechanization completely modifies the conditions of human work by what has been termed the replacement of the organic and the psychological by the mechanical. It is certain that this fact will entail the same social crisis of unemployment as in the secondary sector. To take an example, the tabulator adds and prints 45,000 numbers an hour, as compared with 1,500 for a trained employee. It reads, calculates, analyzes, and prints 150 lines a minute. A punching machine attached to it produces the punched cards which recapitulate the results. The Gamma, a magnetic drum machine, has a memory with a capacity for 200,000 individual items of data. A 1960 model calculating machine can handle 40,000 operations a second. The machine, along with organizational development, is now the means of reducing both the number of employees and expenses, and also of reducing on the collective plane the tertiary sector of manpower. We can hardly agree that mechanical augmentation is decelerating. We are simply in another phase of technical progress, the phase of assimilation, organization, and conquest of the other areas. Here the progress to be made seems limitless, and consists primarily in the efficient systemization of society and the conquest of the human being. All that can be said is that, at best, technical activity has changed its field of operation. It cannot be said that it has slowed down. Moreover, nothing argues that subsequently technical activity will not again turn toward the world of machines with renewed vigor. On the whole, it is the principle of the combination of techniques which causes self-augmentation. Self-augmentation can be formulated into two laws. In a given civilization, 1. In a given civilization, technical progress is irreversible. 2. Technical progress tends to act not according to an arithmetic, but according to a geometric progression. The first of these laws, and we base our conviction on the whole of history, makes us certain that every invention calls forth other technical inventions in other domains. There is never any question of an arrest of the process, and even less of a backward movement. Arrest and retreat only occur when an entire society collapses. In the transition to a successor, a certain number of technical procedures are lost. But in the framework of the same civilization, technical progress is never in question. Later I shall examine the reasons for this. Technical progression is of the same nature as the process of numbering. There is no good ground for halting the progression, because after each number we can always add 1. In technical evolution also, it seems that limits no longer exist. Improvements that result from the application of technique to the matter at hand, whether it be physical or social, can be added uninterruptedly. There is no reason for arresting this process. In arguing thus, the qualifications must be made that this can be said only of the ensemble of techniques, of the technical phenomenon, and not of any particular technique. For every technique taken by itself, there apparently exist barriers that act or to impede further progress, barriers to the addition of new inventions. But these can sometimes be cleared, as the sound barrier has been for aircraft. For the technical phenomenon in its ensemble, however, a limitless progress is open. This progress, as Wiener has shown, is a necessity. Since techniques, proportionately to their development, exhaust the resources of nature, it is indispensable to fill the vacuum so created by a more rapid technical progress. Only inventions perpetually more numerous and automatically increasing can make good the unheard of expenditures and the irredeemable consumption of raw materials such as wood, coal, petroleum, and even water. What is it that determines this progression today? We can no longer argue that it is an economic or social condition, or education, or any other human factor. Essentially, the preceding technical situation alone is determinative. When a given technical discovery occurs, it has followed almost of necessity certain other discoveries. Human intervention in this succession appears only as an incidental cause, and no one man can do this by himself. But anyone who is sufficiently up to date technically can make a valid discovery which rationally follows its predecessors and rationally heralds what is to follow. 2 points must be made more precise here. First, the technical consequences of a technical improvement are not necessarily of a kind. Thus, a purely mechanical discovery may have repercussions in the domain of social techniques or in that of organizational techniques. For example, machines that use perforated cards affect statistics and the organization of certain business enterprises. Conversely, some kind of social technique, for instance, full employment, may entail an improvement in the techniques of economic production. Here we note the interdependence of techniques, which is stated in the second law of self-augmentation. Technical progress tends to be brought about according to a geometric progression. A technical discovery has repercussions and entails progress in several branches of technique and not merely in one. Moreover, techniques combine with one another, and the more given techniques there are to be combined, the more combinations are possible. Thus, almost without deliberate will, By a simple combination of new data, incessant discoveries take place everywhere, and whole fields are opened up to technique because of the meeting of several currents. Material techniques of communication, psychological techniques, commercial techniques, techniques of authoritarian government, all combine to produce the important phenomena of propaganda, which represents a new technique independent of all the rest and necessarily produced as a consequence of the preceding phenomena. What is he saying here? That technique necessitates propaganda. The second law of self-augmentation explains a characteristic of the technical movement which has engaged the attention of contemporary sociologists. This is the unevenness of technical development. Enormous disparities exist, not only in the various global areas of technical expansion, but also in each field within the various sectors. Technique progresses more rapidly in one branch than in another, and certain retrogressions are always possible. To Frankl, this unevenness of development is the key to the disturbances of equilibrium and the social difficulties that the technical phenomena provokes. According to Frankl, if all branches evolved in the same rhythm, there would be no problem. Frankl's view, certainly too simple, is probably not inexact. However, it explains little. In fact, these clashing rhythms cannot be altered because of technical automatism. Fouriesti is right in arguing that technical progress is unpredictable. It cannot be known with certainty, even a short time in advance, in what quarter the new technical invention will be produced, precisely because such inventions are, for the most part, the result of self-augmentation. Of course, a distinction must be made between invention and discovery. Short of halting progress by force in an advanced sector, there are no means of bridging these rhythms back into harmony, and the role of the individual is progressively weakened. The final point to make in discussing self-augmentation is that technique, in its development, poses primarily technical problems which consequently can be resolved only by technique. The present level of technique brings on new advances, and these in turn add to existing technical difficulties and technical problems, which demand further advances still. This is a concrete problem in town planning. A large city supposes a concentration of the means of transport, air control, traffic organization, and so on. Each of these permits the city to grow even larger and promotes new technical advances. For example, to make housework easier, garbage disposal units have been put into use which allow the garbage to run off through the kitchen sinks. The result is enormous pollution of the rivers. It is then necessary to find some new means of purifying the rivers so that water can be used for drinking. A great quantity of oxygen is required for bacteria to destroy these organic materials. And how shall we oxygenate the rivers? This is an example of the way in which technique engenders itself. The mechanization of administrative work in business offices raises the problem of a necessarily different kind of organization. It is not merely a question of replacing human beings with machines or of speeding up the work of bookkeeping, for example, but rather of effecting operations of a new type, which must be integrated into a new kind of organization. For example, the organization of the whole system of inventory analysis, which its four functions of entering, grouping, totaling, and comparing, becomes necessary. An ensemble of new techniques must be elaborated, without which the machine in question would be good for nothing, resulting only in what Mass terms pseudo-systematization. Systematization. The implications of self-augmentation become clearer. The individual's role is less and less important in technical evolution. The more factors there are, the more readily they combine, and the more evident is the urgent need for each technical advance. Advance for its own sake becomes proportionately greater, and the expression of human autonomy proportionately feebler. Human beings are, indeed, always necessary, but literally anyone can do the job, provided he is trained to it. Henceforth, men will be able to act only in virtue of their commonest and lowest nature, and not in virtue of what they possess of superiority and individuality. And qualities which technique require for its advance are precisely those characteristics of a technical order which do not represent individual intelligence. And here we enter into another area, the nature of the technician. In this decisive evolution, the human being does not play a part. Technical elements combine among themselves, and they do so more and more spontaneously. In the future, man will apparently be confined to the role of a recording device. He will note the effects of techniques upon one another and register the results. A whole new kind of spontaneous action is taking place here, and we know neither its laws nor its ends. In this sense, it is possible to speak of the reality of technique with its own substance, its own particular mode of being, and a life independent of our power of decision. The evolution of techniques then becomes exclusively casual. It loses all finality. This is what economists such as Alfred Save mean when they say that by a slow reversal, production is more and more determined by the wishes of individuals in their capacity as producers than by their decisions as consumers. In reality, it is not the wishes of the producers which control consumers. In reality, it is not the wishes of the producers which control, but the technical necessity of production which forces itself on the consumers. Anything and everything which technique is able to produce is produced and accepted by the consumer. The belief that the human producer is still master of production is a dangerous illusion. Technique, so it uses the word technique a lot. Get the definition. Is it in the beginning? Here. I can never find this fucking definition. It's like the total means rationally arrived at to produce efficiency or something like that. There it is. In our technological society, technique is the totality of methods rationally arrived at and having absolute efficiency in every field of human activity. So it's basically, when he's talking about technique, it's like this search to find the best method of most efficient, by best meaning most efficient way of like doing whatever, like policing. It could be applied to sports like analytics or economics, right? Like, or it's like anything. Trying to find the best way to educate people, trying to find the best way to for healthcare or whatever. All right. Technique is organized as a closed world. It utilizes what the mass of men do not understand. It is even based on human ignorance. As Charles K. Michael says, The worker cannot understand the workings of modern industry. The individual, in order to make use of technical instruments, no longer needs to know about his civilization, and no single technician dominates the whole complex any longer. The bond that unites the fragmentary actions and disjointedness of individuals, coordinating and systematizing their work, is no longer a human one, but the internal laws of technique. So, like, technique replaces humanity. It's about efficiency, not about doing the most humane thing. The human hand no longer spans the complex of means, nor does the human brain synthesize man's acts. Only the intrinsic monism of technique assures cohesion between human means and acts. Technique reigns alone, a blind force and more clear-sighted than the best human intelligence. This phenomenon of self-augmentation gives technique a strangely harsh aspect. It resembles nothing other than itself. Whatever the domain to which it is applied, man or God, technique simply is. It undergoes no modifications in the movement which it is being and essence. It is the only locus where form and being are identical. It is only a form, but everything conforms to it. Here, technique assumes the peculiar characteristics which make it a thing apart. A precise and well-defined boundary surrounds it. There is what which is technique, and there is everything else which is not. Whoever passes this boundary and enters into technique is constrained to adopt its characteristics. Technique modifies whatever it touches, but it itself is untouchable. Nothing in nature, nor in social or human life, is comparable with it. The intelligence of art or war comes nowhere near that of technique, no more than does the industry of ants or bees. A hybrid, but not sterile being, and capable of self-generation, technique traces its own limits and fashions its own image. Whatever the adaptations nature or circumstances demand of it, technique remains self-identical in its characteristics and its course. Hindrances seem to compel it to become, not something else, but even more itself. Everything it assimilates strengthens it in its traits. There is no hope of seeing it change into a fine and gracious being. It is neither Caliban nor Ariel, but it has been able to take Ariel and Caliban into the unconditioned circles of its universal method. Monism. The French word is... I don't know French. I have adopted monism as the English equivalent. Holism might have been better. In any case, the accumulated philosophical baggage of both these terms must be rejected and the meaning of the term understood contextually. So, monism. The technical phenomenon, embracing all separate techniques, forms a whole. This monism of technique was already obvious to us when we determined, on the basis of the evidence, that the technical phenomenon presents, everywhere and essentially, the same characteristics. It is useless to look for differentiations. They do not exist, but only secondarily. The common features of the technical phenomenon are so sharply drawn that it is easy to discern that which is the technical phenomenon and that which is not. The difficulties experienced in the study of technique arise partly from the method to be used and partly from terminology. They do not arise from the phenomenon itself, which is eminently simple to fix. To analyze these common features is tricky, but it is simple to grasp them. Just as there are principles common to things as different as a wireless set and an internal combustion engine, so the organization of an office and the construction of an aircraft have certain identical features. This identity is the primary mark of that thoroughgoing unity which makes the technical phenomenon a single essence despite the extreme diversity of its appearances. As a corollary, it is impossible to analyze this or that element out of it, a truth which is today particularly misunderstood. The great tendency of all persons who study techniques is to make distinctions. They distinguish between the different elements of technique, maintaining some and discarding others. They distinguish between technique and the use to which it is put. These distinctions are completely invalid and show only that he who makes them has understood nothing of the technical phenomenon. Its parts are ontologically tied together in it. Use is inseparable from being. Use is inseparable from being. It is common practice, for example, to deny the unity of the technical complex so as to be able to fasten one's hope or one or another of its branches. Mumford gives a remarkable example of this when he contrasts the grandeur of the printing press with the horridness of the newspaper. On the one side there is the gigantic printing press, a miracle of fine articulation. On the other, the content of the papers themselves, regarding the most vulgar and elementary emotional states. There, the impersonal, the cooperative, the objective, here the limited, the subjective, the recalcitrant? I don't know what that word is. The ego, violent and full of hate and fear, etc. So the printing press is impersonal. The printing press represents the impersonal, the cooperative, the objective, and the newspaper is the limited, the subjective, the ego, violent, full of hate, fear. Unfortunately, it did not occur to Mumford to ask whether the content of our newspapers is not really necessitated by the social form imposed on man by the machine. The content, this content is not the product of chance or of some economic form. It is the result of precise psychological and psychoanalytical techniques. These techniques have as their goal the bringing to the individual of that which is indispensable for his satisfaction in the conditions in which the machine has placed him, of inhibiting in him the sense of revolution, of subjugating him by flattering him. In other words, journalistic content is a technical complex expressly intended to adapt the man to the machine. It is certain that a press of high intellectual tone and great moral elevation either would not be read, and then one would scarcely see the wherefore of these beautiful machines, or would provoke in the long run a violent reaction against every form of technical society, including the machine. This reaction would come about not because of the ideas such a press would disseminate, but because the reader would no longer find in it the indispensable instrument for releasing his repressed passions. In a sound evaluation of the problem, it ought never be said, on the one side technique, on the other the abuse of it. There are different techniques which correspond to different necessities, but all techniques are inseparably united. Everything hangs together in a technical world as it does in the mechanical, in both the advisability of isolated means, in both the advisability of the isolated means must be distinguished from the advisability of the mechanical complex. Not sure what that means. The claims of the mechanical complex must prevail when, for example, a machine too costly or over-refined threatens to wreck the ensemble. I'm not sure what he means by that paragraph. There is an attractive notion which would apparently resolve all technical problems, That is not the technique that is wrong, but the use men make of it. Consequently, if the use is changed, there will no longer be any objection to the technique. I shall return more than once to this conception. Let us examine a single aspect of it now. First, it manifestly rests on the confusion between machine and technique. A man can use his automobile to take a trip or to kill his neighbors, but the second use is not a use, it is a crime. The automobile was not created to kill people, so the fact is not important. I know, of course, that killing people is not what those who explain things in this way have in mind. They prefer to say that man orients his pursuit in the direction of good and not of evil. They mean that technique seeks to invent rational therapies and not poison gases, useful sources of energy and not atomic bombs, commercial and not military aircraft. This leads them straight back to man who decides in what direction to orientate his researches. Must it not be, then, that man is becoming better? But all of this is an error. It resolutely refuses to recognize technical reality. It supposes, to begin with, that men orient technique in a given direction for moral and consequently non-technical reasons. But a principal characteristic of technique, which we shall study at length, is its refusal to tolerate moral judgments. It is absolutely independent of them and eliminates them from its domain. Technique never observes the distinction between moral and immoral use. It tends, on the contrary, to create a completely independent technical morality. Here, then, is one of the elements of weakness of this point of view. It does not perceive technique's rigorous autonomy with respect to morals. It does not see that the infusion of some more or less vague sentiment of human welfare cannot alter it. See, so it doesn't care about humanity. So that's why we're creating a society that doesn't give a fuck about humans. Wonder why people are depressed. Not even the moral conversation of the technicians could make a difference. At best, they would cease to be good technicians. This attitude supposes further that technique evolves with some end in view, and that this end is human good. Technique, as I believe I have shown, is totally irrelevant to this notion and pursues no end, professed or unprofessed. It evolves in a purely casual way. The combination of preceding elements furnishes the new technical elements. There is no purpose or plan that is being progressively realized. There is not even a tendency toward human ends. We are dealing with a phenomenon blind to the future in a domain of integral causality. Casuality. That's a weird word. Hence, to pose arbitrarily some goal or other, to propose a direction for technique, is to deny technique and divest it of its character and its strength. There is a final argument against this position. It was said that the use made of technique is bad, but this assertion has no meaning at all. As I have pointed out, a number of uses can always be made of the machine, but only one of them is the technical use. The use of the automobile as a murder weapon does not represent the technical use, that is, the one best way of doing something. Technique is a means with a set of rules for the game. It is a method of being used which is unique. It is a method of being used which is unique and not open to arbitrary choice. We gain no advantage from the machine or from organization if it is not used as it ought to be. But there is but one method for its use, one possibility. Lacking this, it is not a technique. Technique is in itself a method of action, which is exactly what a use means. To say of such a technical means that a bad use has been made of it is to say that no technical use has been made of it, that it has not been made to yield what could have yielded and ought to have yielded. The driver who uses his automobile carelessly makes a bad use of it. Such use, incidentally, has nothing to do with the use which moralists wish to ascribe to technique. Technique is a use. Moralists wish to apply another use with other criteria. What they wish, to be precise, is that technique no longer be technique. Under the circumstances, there are no further significant problems. Not really sure what he means there. So I can use a machine, I can use a car to kill, but its only purpose is to drive me somewhere. So using the car to kill does not represent its technical use. To say of such a technical means that a bad use has been made of it is to say that no technical use has been made of it. That it has not been made to yield what it could have yielded and not to have yielded. What is he saying here? Technique is in itself a method of action, which is exactly what a use means. It's a method of action. A use is a method of action, right? Oh, since technique is... Oh, technique and use are the same thing. So to say that you're using technique for evil is to say that it's not technique. So you can't, it's not about how we use the technique, because technique is using some technique is use. Okay, I get it now. This is complicated, man. There is no difference at all between technique and its use. The individual is faced with an exclusive choice, either to use the technique as it should be used according to the technical rules, or not to use it at all. It is impossible to use it otherwise than according to the technical rules. Does that mean I shouldn't use the internet? Unfortunately, men today accept this reality only with difficulty. Thus, when Mumford makes the statement, the army is the ideal form towards which a purely mechanical industrial system must tend, he is unable to restrain himself from adding, but the result is not ideal. What is the ideal doing here? The ideal is not the problem. The problem is solely to know whether this mode of organization responds to technical criteria. Mumford is able to show that it is nothing of the kind, because he limits techniques to machines. But if we were to accept the role of human techniques in the organization of the army, he could account for the fact that the army indeed remains the irreproachable model of a technical organization, and its value has nothing to do with an ideal. It is infantile to wish to submit the machine to the criterion of the ideal. The army is the ideal form which a purely mechanical industrial system must tend. But what is the ideal doing? The ideal is not the problem is solely to know whether its mode of organization responds to technical criteria. It is infantile to wish to submit the machine to the criterion of the ideal. That one's going over my head. It is also held that technique could be directed toward that which is positive, constructive, and enriching, omitting that which is negative, destructive, and impoverishing. In demagogic formulation, techniques of peace must be developed and techniques of war rejected. In a less simple-minded version, it is held that means ought to be sought which palliate without increasing the drawbacks of technique. What does palliate mean? Jesus. Palliate. Make less severe or unpleasant without removing the cause.
Palliate.
In demagogic formulation, techniques of peace must be developed and techniques of war rejected. It is less of my version. It is held that means ought to be sought which make less unpleasant, without increasing the drawbacks of technique.
Okay.
Could not atomic engines and atomic power have been discovered without creating the bomb? To reason thus is to separate technical elements with no justification. Techniques of peace and alongside them other and different techniques of war simply do not exist, despite what good folk think to the contrary. Techniques of peace and alongside them other and different techniques of war simply do not exist. What is he saying there then? That the techniques of peace and war are the same? Oh yeah, because we can't separate atomic engines from the atomic bomb. The organization of an army comes to resemble more and more that of a great industrial plant. It is the technical phenomenon presenting a formidable unity in all its parts, which are inseparable. The fact that the atomic bomb was created before the atomic engine was not essentially the result of the perversity of technical men, nor was it solely the attitude of the state which determined this order. The action of the state was certainly the deciding factor in atomic research. I shall take up this point later. Research was greatly accelerated by the necessities of war, and consequently directed toward a bomb. If the state had not been orientated toward the ends of war, it would have not devoted so much money to atomic research. All this caused an undeniable factor of orientation to intervene. But if the state had not promoted such efforts, it would have been the whole complex of atomic research which would have been halted without distinction between the use of war and peace. So if we didn't promote atomic research, we lose like the atomic bomb along with atomic energy. If atomic research is encouraged, it is obligatory to pass through the stage of the atomic bomb. The bomb represents, by far, the simplest utilization of atomic energy. The problems involved in the military use of atomic energy are infinitely more simple to resolve than those involved in its industrial use. For industrial use, all the problems involved in the bomb must be solved. In addition, certain others, a fact corroborated by J. Oppenheimer in his Paris lecture in 1958. The experience of Great Britain between 1955 and 60 in producing electricity of nuclear origin is very significant in this respect. It was, then, necessary to pass through the period of research which culminated in the bomb before proceeding to its normal sequel, atomic motive power. The atomic bomb period is a transitory but unfortunately necessary stage in the general evolution of this technique. In the interim period, represented by the bomb, the possessor, finding himself with so powerful an instrument, is led to use it. Why? Because everything which is technique is necessarily used as soon as it is available, without distinction of good or evil. This is the principal law of our age. May we quote here Jacques Sostell's well-known remark in May 1960 in reference to the atomic bomb. It expresses the deep feeling of us all. Quote, "Since it was possible, it was necessary." End quote. Really a master phrase for all technical evolution. Even an author as well disposed toward machine as Mumford recognizes that there is a tendency to utilize all inventions whether there is need for them or not. Our grandparents used sheet iron for walls, although they knew that iron is a good conductor of heat. The introduction of anesthetics led to the performance of superfluous operations. The introduction of anesthetics led to the performance of superfluous operations, like breast augmentation. To say that it could be otherwise is simply to make an abstraction of man. Another example is the police. The police have perfected to an unheard of degree technical methods both of research and of action. Everyone is delighted with this development because it would seem to guarantee an increasingly efficient protection against criminals. Let us put aside for the moment the problem of police corruption and concentrate on the technical apparatus, which, as I have noted, is becoming extremely precise. Will this apparatus be applied? Will this apparatus be applied only to criminals? We know that this is not the case, and we are tempted to react by saying that this is the state which applies this technical apparatus without discrimination. But there is an error of perspective here. The instrument tends to be applied everywhere it can be applied. Exactly, like I shouldn't get busted because I'm a fucking upstanding citizen. But I did get busted because of fucking technique. It functions without discrimination because it exists without discrimination. Oh, wait, this totally debunks this idea of police discrimination. Sweet. The techniques of police, which are developing at an extremely rapid tempo, have as their necessary end the transformation of the entire nation into a concentration camp. Holy shit! The techniques of the police, I'm going to read that one again. The techniques of the police, which are developing at an extremely rapid tempo, have as their necessary end the transformation of the entire nation into a concentration camp. This is no perverse decision on the part of some party or government. To be sure, of apprehending criminals, it is necessary that everyone be supervised. It is necessary to know exactly what every citizen is up to know his relations, his amusements, etc. And the state is increasingly in a position to know these things. Oh, fuck with the internet. Holy shit! This does not imply a reign of terror or of arbitrary arrests. The best technique is one which makes itself felt the least and which represents the least burden. But every citizen must be thoroughly known to the police and must live under conditions of discreet surveillance. All this results from the perfection of technical methods. Crazy. The police cannot attain technical perfection unless they have total control. And as Ernst Kahn Bramst has remarked, this total control has both an objective and a subjective side. Subjectively, control satisfies the desire for power and certain sadistic tendencies. But the subjective aspect is not the dominant one. It is not the major aspect, the expression of what is to come. In reality, the objective aspect of control, more and more, that is to say, The pure technique, which creates a milieu, an atmosphere, an environment, and even a model of behavior in social relations, dominates more and more. The police must move in the direction of anticipating and forestalling crime. Eventually, intervention will be useless. This state of affairs can come about in two ways. First, by constant surveillance, to the end that noxious intentions be known in advance and the police be able to act before the predetermined crime takes place. Yeah, I think we're moving towards pre-crime. Like maybe combining...
What are you reading?
The Technological Society. They're going to start psychoanalyzing us and be like, you're a fucking criminal before you even do a crime. And you could be fucking punished just for your, like, who you are. It's going to be fucked up. Second, by the climate of social conformity, which we have mentioned. This goal presupposes the paternal surveillances of every citizen, and in addition, the closest possible tie-in with all other techniques, administrative, organizational, and psychological. The technique of police control has value only if the police are in close contact with the trade unions and the schools. In particular, it is allied with propaganda. Wherever the phenomenon is observed, this connection exists. Propaganda itself cannot be efficient unless it brings into play the whole state organization, and particularly the police power. Conversely, police power is a genuine technique only when it is supplemented by propaganda, which plays a leading role in the psychological environment necessary to the completeness of the police power. But propaganda must also teach acceptance of what the police power is and what it can do. It must make the police power palatable, justify its actions, and give it its psycho-sociological structure among the masses of the people. Well, right now we're experiencing a lot of propaganda that seems to be antithetical to police power. So what is that? Maybe this is part of getting us to accept the police power in some way by like criticizing it and changing it. They're gonna change it probably. They'll use Black Lives Matter as an excuse to change police power, probably towards the more like authoritarian, controlling surveillance style. But it's like people are thinking we're going to be changing it for the better.
What book are you reading, Mars?
The Technological Society.
Oh. Okay.
Shit, how much
Very different book than what I was expecting you to be reading. And probably the one I was looking at is different too. I was reading the King James Version because I was getting ready to do a stream somewhere.
What did you think I was going to be reading the Bible?
Oh, I know you got it.
What?
I figured you might have it. At least now I know what P. Mars looks like.
This could be fake.
Yeah, that's not really Pink Mars.
This is CGI. This is Chris. There's a lot to go. I think I might stop there. Maybe one.
Hey, P. Mars.
Yeah.
Now you can see what God looks like.
I see what a homeless person looks like.
Oh, I got a house. I'm in it.
Actually, God would appear as a homeless person, right? That smells like urine. And then he'd, like, trick you. See if you would treat him like God. Even though he's, you know, a piss wizard.
Tell you the honest truth, I would expect that. He's not going to be what you expect. So for you, P. Mars, he might appear as a piss wizard. For me, it'd be probably something totally different. But I like what you said, because that is probably be accurate.
Yep. That's why we're supposed to...
You don't know.
Mm-hmm. We're supposed
It'll be a personal response.
God could come...
If God existed.
God could come disguised as an atheist, right? And then he might be judging me, like, how do I treat atheists? Because, like, we're supposed to love our enemies and love everyone, and so that's how he tests you. Like,
treat all people exactly as the same as you want them to treat you.
I think he appeared to Saint Francis as a leper or something. I'm gonna finish like.
But you follow him.
Treat all people as you want to be treated.
Yeah. I just thought I'd stop in and say hello.
Kind of works. Hi.
Yeah, you would.
All right, I'm gonna finish like this part about police. All right, I'm just gonna read a few more paragraphs and I'll call it. All this is equally true for dictatorial regimes in which police and propaganda concentrate on terror, and for democratic regimes in which the motion pictures, for example, show the good offices of the police and procure it the friendly feeling of the public. Okay, notice how many TV shows there are about police. That's not just because policing is the most interesting, entertaining fucking concept for a show. They do that right. He says right here, for democratic regimes in which the motion pictures, for example, show the good offices of the police and procure it the friendly feelings of the public. So they put all these cop shows on TV to make you like love the police and be like, oh, the police is my friend. I saw him on the TV drama and he was cool. Same thing with doctors, right, and lawyers. See, these are the faces of power of the system. Doctors, lawyers, police. They tell you what to do. You fucking listen to them. So that's why all these TV shows are about doctors, lawyers, and police. It's not because it's the most fucking interesting professions or anything. It's about propaganda. Okay. The vicious circle mentioned by Ernst Bramst, past terror accentuates present propaganda, and present propaganda paves the way for future terror, is as true of democratic as of dictatorial regimes. If the term terror is replaced by efficiency. Ooh. Yeah, see, like, people think that democratic and authoritarian forms of government are so, like, different, but, like, they're really not that different. This type of police organization is not arbitrary. This type of police organization is not an arbitrary prospect. It is maintained by every authoritarian government, which every citizen is regarded as a suspect, ignorant of his own capabilities. It is the elements of it. It is the tendency in the United States, and we are beginning to see the first elements of it in France. The administration of the French police was orientated in 1951 toward an organization of the system in depth. This took place, for example, at the level of the record office. Certain elements of this are simple and well known: fingerprint files, records of firearms, application of statistical methods which allow the police to obtain in a minimum of time the most varied kinds of information, and to know from day to day the current state of criminality in all its forms. Other elements are somewhat more complicated and new. For example, a punched card mechanism index system has been installed in the criminal division. This system offers 400 possible combinations and permits investigations to begin with any element of the crime: hour of commission, nature, objects stolen, weapons used, etc. The combination obviously does not give the solution, but a series of approximations. The most important item in this catalog of police techniques is the creation of the so-called suspect files, which show whether the police ever suspected any individual for any reasons or at any time whatsoever, even though no legal document or procedure ever existed against him. From the press conference of M. Bailot, Prefect of Police, 1951. This means that any citizen who once in his life had anything to do with the police, even for non-criminal reasons, is put under observation, a fact which ought to affect, speaking conservatively, half the adult male population. It is obvious that these lists are only a point of departure, because it will be tempting as well as necessary to complete the files with all observations which may have been collected. Finally, this technical conception of the police supposes the institution of concentration camps, not in their dramatic aspects, but in their administrative aspects. The Nazis' use of concentration camps has warped our perspectives. The concentration camp is based on two ideas which derive directly from the technical conception of the police: preventative detention, which completes prevention, and re-education. It is not because the use of these terms has not corresponded to reality that we feel it necessary to refuse to see in the concentration camp a very advanced form of the system. Nor is it because the so-called methods of re-education have, on the whole, been methods of destruction that we feel we must consider such a concept of re-education an odious joke. The further we advance, the more will the police be considered responsible for the re-education of social misfits, a goal that is part of the very order which they are charged with protecting. Interesting. We are experiencing at present the justification of this development. It is not true that the perfection of police power is the result of the state's Machiavellianism or of some transitory influence. The whole structure of society implies it of necessity. The more we mobilize the forces of nature, the more must we mobilize men, and the more we do require order, which today represents the highest value. To deny this is to deny the whole course of modern times. This order has nothing spontaneous in it. It is rather a patient accretion of 1,000 technical details, and each of us derives a feeling of security from every one of the improvements, which make this order more efficient and the future safer. Order receives our complete approval even when we are hostile to the police. We are, by a strange contradiction, partisans of order. In the blossoming of modern discoveries and of our own power, a vertigo has taken hold of us which makes us feel this need to an extreme degree. After all, it is the police who are charged, from the external point of view, with ensuring this order, which covers organization and morals. How, then, can we possibly deny to the police indispensable improvements in their methods? Okay, I think it's a good place to end. Thanks for listening.
For sure. Nope. Let it be more.
putting all that hell on your chest, chest to the past. Baby, step in the hard for my time to be 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 hard for my time on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the chest, chest to the past. Baby, step in
The DJ sounding, don't think it's time to get it on. Here's a Reebok, y'all and me relieving stress. I got my phone. All my niggas still with Anna on my chest to kill a bitch. Niggas striking Anna, we gon' leave them stinking in the ditch. Niggas say they done with me, and niggas say we tight as hell. Niggas ain't chill no more. Busters, I can't bust your tail. Niggas act like bitches, so I'd rather see them niggas dead. Leave your face down on the ground just for that baby shit you said. The DJ sounding, don't think it's time to get it on. Here's a Reebok, y'all and me relieving stress. I got my phone. All my niggas still with Anna on my chest to kill a bitch. Niggas striking Anna, we gon' leave them stinking in the ditch. Niggas say they done with me, and niggas say we tight as hell. Niggas ain't chill no more. Busters, I can't bust your tail. Niggas act like bitches, so I'd rather see them niggas dead. Leave your face down on the ground just for that baby shit you said.
trying to be hard, but my 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 kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the chest, chest to the past. Baby, step in trying to be hard, but my 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 kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on the kid on the nigga time, putting all that hell on your chest, chest to the past. Baby, step in chest, chest to the past. Baby, step in.
bacterium would be present. So what I have to do is, and then there's Emil Borel and his estimation. So I guess all I could do here is just post the names, and then you could just go down these rabbit holes.
That's perfect. I love going down these rabbit holes. In general, what I usually find in these things, and I'm not trying to refute any of the references, I haven't read any of those right yet, I just only read the one that you showed me, is when I see these probabilities put out, they're talking about as one iteration. So they don't, it's like if you cited one probability you just mentioned was 10 to the negative 40,000, and or 1 in 40,000 is effectively what it came down to. That would be like a essentially, if you give it enough time, that would be an almost certainty it would happen if you had virtual trials, like millions of trials at any instance occurring. So if you were like assuming a primordial soup and you were having things spontaneously just reacting with each other, 1 in 40,000 is almost a certainty it would happen given enough time.
No. You know it wasn't 1 in 40,000, right?
I'm sorry, I thought that's what you said. I thought you said...
No, 10 to the minus 40,000. So 0 practically.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I just misheard you there.
Yeah, no worries.
So it all just depends on how many independent trials they're going to be measuring. Because if you include that there were 50 trillion like proteins, or so I just made that up, 50 trillion amino acids in a primordial soup, then the odds of those numbers actually get really small really quickly if given enough time.
Yeah,
but I just got to read the papers.
Yeah, these guys are information theorists. I think they would know.
Yeah, it's like, so this information theory book that I just looked at here, this was entirely supporting evolutionary theory. This was like 200 pages of evolutionary theory support. It was a breakdown of all the literature. So I'd have to look at each of those papers individually if those are not cited in
Did
this
you
review.
Question? Do you have Yaki's information theory?
Yeah. I put a link to
Can
it.
you
It's,
can you look
PDF.
at page 254 and 255?
Yeah, those are going to be appendices, right, of his calculations?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. I just have the
Okay.
citation.
Sure.
And then when you go there, see if you see 10 to the minus, I think it's 75.
I'm looking at 254 and 255, and those are in the index.
Okay.
We might be
Whoa.
looking at a different version because there were multiple versions released.
And what's the title of the paper you're looking at?
So this is, by the way, you can click on it. I linked to the PDF in the chat from the old chat that we were just in. It's called Information Theory, Evolution, and the Origin of Life, Hubert Yaki, 2005.
Okay, hold on one second. Because this is just saying information theory.
Yeah, I just Googled what you put in, Hubert P. Yaki, Information Theory, Evolution, and the Origin of Life, and it was the first PDF that came up. And I didn't want it to make it sound like a heroic task that I did by reading this. I read a lot of scientific papers, so it's really easy to rip through these things. You're missing out.
You were reading a science book earlier, boy. It's the Stanford room.
That's sort of science. That's social science.
Science is nice, right? But science is secondary knowledge. It's not really the primary knowledge.
My,
that
getting
you
really
should get.
many. We
Yeah,
just
secondary.
Okay, so when you put toppings onto your pizza, do you put toppings on top of the cheese, or do you
Okay,
put
okay.
cheese on
No,
top
no,
of
no,
the
no.
veggie?
I found
no,
it.
no.
I found it. Hold on, sorry. So I gave you Hubert Yaki's Information Theory, Evolution, and the Origin of Life, 2005, Cambridge University Press. That was the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Okay, no,
The
that's all right.
one I should have given you, the one that I miscited, is called Just Information Theory, page 254 and 255.
Okay. I will try and dig that
in
up,
it-
but you're gonna make me read another damn book, dude.
No. Just go to 254 and 255, and then you can look at the previous and pages after it as well, just to make sure it's in context. But he calculated a probability of 10 to the minus 75 to generate spontaneously from an amino acid rich environment. So that was Yaki's. Now he's a naturalist. Of course, they're not making it an argument for design. But yeah, so if you can find that, then we can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. It's gonna take me a bit to find that because if it's not
And
a
then
PDF,
you also have the Murray Eden citation
from the MIT guy.
Yeah, I don't know what his book is or his paper is called though. Oh wait, no, I do. Hold on.
By the way, we're not going to settle anything here, obviously, but it's just nice to have a conversation.
It's called. Okay, yeah, never mind. No worries. Yeah, maybe next time then.
I'll try and find Yaki's other book, and I will remember that citation and see if I could dig through it. But again, it's all about the details of how many trials they assume.
I'll look for it too.
Yep. But I appreciate the context. By the way, these things never enter they very rarely enter the domain of science. These conversations, and it's much better and much more concrete when we do operate in this playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about science, right? So science, like I said before, it gives you secondary knowledge. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice to know how things work, natural things and everything. But end of the day, that's not really primarily the knowledge that you really need in your life, right? The primary knowledge that every human being seeks for is, what is my purpose in life? What happens after I die?
This has been
Who's
fun.
my
Objects.
creator?
I'll read that stuff.
Yeah.
Objects. Appreciate the recommendation, dude.
So that's the primary knowledge that you need to look for. Okay, science is great. If science works, it's great, bro. But it's all secondary. It doesn't make you a better human being. It doesn't make you a better father. It doesn't make you a better husband. It doesn't make you better for your children. Science is nice, but it's not essential for you for you as a human being. That's what I'm trying to say.
So, oh my god. So why
why are you just destroying every chat, bro? Is this why God created you? Is this your purpose to destroy every chat, Benny?
What do you mean destroy every chat? The chat was dead. Yeah, nobody spoke.
You're
So
killing it.
better human being.
You're
Just
fucking
trolling.
killing
nobody,
it.
Feel good.
nobody was talking. What are you talking about? It was a silence of 10 minutes. What are you talking about?
Benny,
Put the roach
please.
down, buddy. Put the roach
What
down.
you talking about? What you talking about? I'm saying, are you disagree with me that science gives you primary knowledge? Is that what you disagree with me? Does it give you primary knowledge that you need as a human being?
Dude, you win. Well, you win. I
Yeah.
forfeit. I fucking forfeit, dude.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you, but dude, that came out of nowhere, dude. You come here, you're trying
No,
to
that didn't come out. No, he talked about science and this and science.
Motherfucker.
You need to read science paper. It's nice. Yeah, I agree. You need to read science. You need to do science. You need to investigate in science. It's great, but it's not
Hey,
the
Benny.
primary knowledge. It's not
Hey
the
Benny,
highest
why don't
knowledge.
you, Benny, debate me on science then?
Okay,
Debate
cool.
me now.
Okay, cool. What you want to debate about?
Science.
Well, first of all, you know you talk too much, right?
Science is great, bro. I don't disagree with you. What you talking about?
You talk too much, man.
I don't disagree, bro. Science is great. Do science. Yeah. Investigate
then I
the world.
win.
Investigate how things started. Investigate how things work. Yeah, great. But it doesn't. But that's secondary knowledge. It's not the highest knowledge. It's not the highest knowledge.
You don't believe that?
Of course, 100%, bro. That's not the highest knowledge. The highest knowledge would make you a better human being, bro. It makes you a better father. Can provide for better husband, better family man for your parents, for the community, to work to fix problems in the community. You know, that's the knowledge that you need to really gain. That's primary, to save yourself and your family and to be a better human being. That's secondary. Secondary, yes, it's nice to know things how it works, and you can you know how things work and how nice. But it doesn't. A good scientist can be a horrible husband. A good scientist who's very smart can be a drug addict and an alcohol addict, bro.
Yeah,
So that's
no religious
scientism
person's
favor.
ever been a bad dad.
I don't really
What I'm
think
trying
that.
to say is, science doesn't make you a great human being that is good
Benny.
for your family and everything. That's what I'm
Benny,
trying to
what
say.
makes you a great human being?
A great human being is that you know how to protect yourself and protect your family and protect the community. That's the great human being. That is the smartest.
Amen.
Intelligent.
And where do we gain
Wait. Bro, one thing that you understand. Intelligence is primarily, listen very careful. You have intelligence primarily to save yourself from harm and your loved ones around you. That's primarily why you have this intelligence, so that you can sense things and clock things quickly, that you know, oh, this is dangerous, or this is harmful, let me stay out of it, let me protect my children and my family. This is the essence why you have intelligence. And then the secondary why you have intelligence, yes, is to do science, to know how things work and everything, all the things, to do mathematics. It's all great. But if you are great in mathematics and science and everything, but you cannot protect yourself from harm, and you cannot protect your family and your children, that means nothing, bro.
Okay, so
try to
science.
protect yourself.
So protecting my family, correct? That's good.
Yes,
right?
that's a great human being. Yeah.
So helping my family live a long, good, healthy life, that's good, right?
100%.
So science tells me a good diet for my kid. Science tells me,
great.
Okay, science provides all this knowledge of how to live a long, healthy life for me and my kids. Ergo, science is good.
Yes, I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, why we have still alcohol? Why is alcohol not forbidden? Tell me that, please. Give me a good reason why. Why is alcohol not forbidden?
Alcohol helps our body get more euphoria, and we get higher euphoria,
oh my God.
and we have more fun.
See?
And when the human body has more fun,
Oh, wow, bro. See, you're missing. Now you're missing the boat, bro. See, this is what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, I had a
Is
phone
end
call.
of the
I said, hold on,
yeah.
I had a phone call. Let me finish. The point. I had a phone call. My bad. I said, so when a person is happier in their life, their health is typically higher, and their lifespan is typically longer. Did you disagree with that premise?
No, alcohol is the opposite, bro. If we talk about alcohol, that's bro. If we look at the science,
Alcohol,
if
what?
alcohol was invented today, if alcohol was invented
Hold on, what'd you
today, it
say?
was
Alcohol does
forbidden,
what?
bro. It's the opposite, bro. It gives you more problems than the harm is outweigh the benefits, bro. It
No,
has some benefits, yes.
alcohol abuse is bad. Any abuse of
No,
anything is bad. Just like
yeah,
steak.
bro. But now
Okay, just
you're
like
adding things to
steak.
it, bro. I'm
Just
talking in
like
general,
steak.
bro. I'm talking in
Exactly.
general.
In general, steak is bad if you take too much
You're
of it.
adding.
No.
Look.
Yes.
You look as a human being. You was prepared from day one. When you was a child, you was prepared by your parents and the society and everything. Everything comes to one thing. All of your life, if you can sum it up, all of your life is to prepare you from not harming yourself, to protect yourself and your loved ones. This is the essential thing why you gain knowledge, bro, is to protect yourself and protect yourself from harming other people and everything. And end of the day, all of this is summing up is to protect yourself from the real danger. And you know what that is, bro. You know what that is, what the real danger is. The real danger. Why you are so why you have intelligence, why you do you know what that is, bro? Knowledge is real. No, he's gone.
Dude, debate me on science any day.
Look, bro, end of the day, what I'm trying to say is everything is you will be you've been prepared for one thing, bro, to protect yourself. To protect yourself from harm, bro. Protect you and your loved ones and your family from harm. And the biggest harm is the hellfire. This is what is everything is prepared for you. Your
Benny,
parents raised you up to protect you. The schools are raised you up to protect you.
fucking
Yeah, some schools, but what I'm trying to say is everything is summing up to protect yourself from the hellfire.
dude, shut up, shut the fuck up. What the fuck?
What's up, monkey? What's up, monkey? What's
Benny,
trying to
piece
monkey
of
with
shit,
the
dude. You got,
bro?
you
Are you
gotta let
ex-Muslim
fucking.
or something? Are you ex-Muslim, bro?
I'm not ex-Muslim, bro. I just
Why
like
do you have
monkeys.
that avatar picture? Why you have that
Dude,
avatar
I
picture?
just like monkeys and I like the hat. Okay, what's the problem?
It's from Saudi Arabia, bro. It looks like a Saudi Arabian monkey. What you talking about, bro? What you doing?
Yeah, man, Saudi Arabia.
Are you taking a piss?
Let's go.
You're taking a piss
Chop
right
the
now.
heads off. Let's go, champ. Listen,
It's a Saudi Arabian monkey. What you doing, bro? Are you ex-Muslim? Are
I'm
you
not a fucking
ex-Muslim, bro?
ex-Muslim. No,
Why
I
are
never
you
grew up
taking
in
that
religion.
picture there? Why are you taking? That's
Dude,
a
why are you
typical
yelling? Yo,
ex-Muslim
shut the
picture.
fuck. What's wrong with this guy, man? Why is he
Shut
yelling?
up, bro. Shut up, monkey. Shut up,
Oh,
ex-Muslim. Why you're ex-Muslim, bro? I can smell it from the distance.
Bro,
I
why
can
are
see it
you
on the
yelling?
picture, bro.
Johnny.
Can you, dude, Benny, dude, relax a little bit, man. Like, dude, we know that protecting the family and everybody, that's a good thing, okay? Everybody knows that, but why do you have to fucking yell at people and preach? Dude, we know this. What the
No,
fuck?
you don't know this. No,
Of
you
course
don't
I
know
know
this,
this.
bro. You don't know this, bro.
Oh,
Trust
okay.
me,
You
you
think you have
don't know
secret
this.
knowledge that you're
You
giving
don't know
everybody?
this because the biggest threat, the biggest harm, and the biggest danger is ahead of you, bro. That is the day of judgment,
What is
bro.
it? What is it?
When you gonna disappoint when you not gonna fulfill your purpose, when you're gonna fail the test, and you're gonna
Yeah,
disappoint your
you're gonna be
creator,
sent to purgatory. You're
and
gonna be
then you're
sent to
gonna
purgatory.
and
Okay?
then you will see the greatest danger, and it's the hellfire. That's why you are on earth to
So wait,
protect
so
yourself.
you're sending me to hell?
We believe in purgatory. We
Not
believe in
no,
purgatory.
I'm not saying you're going to hell, bro. I'm not saying you're going to hell. I'm
Benny, you're gonna
saying
go
the
to
biggest.
purgatory, bro.
I'm saying the intelligence, the most intelligent people, are protected themselves from the hellfire. You can know everything about science, But end of the day, if you are ending up in the
I just
hellfire,
can't
those
back.
signs
Still going?
didn't benefit
Benny,
you, bro.
Benny,
It didn't
Benny,
benefit you.
Benny, can I
what's
ask you for
wrong
a
with
favor?
science,
For real.
Benny?
Hold on, Benny. Can I ask you for a favor? An honest favor. You there, Benny?
Yeah.
When we're sitting next to each other, when we're both dead, and we're sitting next to each other in purgatory, I want you to tell me you're going to apologize that you were wrong.
What do you mean by purgatory? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
When we're sitting down next to each other in purgatory, and you say,
What do you
damn, I
mean by
was wrong.
purgatory? What do you mean by purgatory,
That's where
bro?
we're
You don't
going to
know
go.
what
It's gonna be
purgatory is?
purgatory.
You don't know what
What
purgatory
is that?
Benny? It's like think about it like this, Benny. Think about like waiting at the bus stop for your bus.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, okay. So if
Wait,
I'm
Bart,
wrong,
you believe everyone's gonna go to heaven then?
Yes.
And that's biblical?
No. I'm just not. I just don't have the authority to send anyone to hell. So I think we're all going to heaven.
And
why are you? If you have not the authority, why are you just speaking assumptions, bro? Bart,
because I
please.
want good for everybody, Benny. What do you
No,
mean?
you're not the one who. No, you don't give people bad assumptions, bro. You're just speaking without no knowledge,
It's
bro.
not a bad assumption.
It's a bad assumption. You give false hopes to people. False
How is that false hope?
security. It's a false hope. No, it's a false hope. Don't do that. Real friends tell people the real truth, bro. Even if it's bitter. Yeah, the truth is sometimes hard. Yeah, there's gonna be a day of judgment. Yes, you're gonna see the hellfire, but that seeing is not gonna be beneficial for you because you need to on earth. You need to use your intellect. You know what people will say? You know, the people who dragged to the hellfire before they been thrown into the hellfire. You know what the angels, the hell keepers, will say to the people? Has not no warner came to you on earth? Has nobody came to you and said that this day will come, that you will face this day? And they said, yes, of course, but we didn't. You know what they said? And this is profound, bro. They said, first, we didn't listen, and we didn't use our reason. So the thing is, how to avoid the hellfire is two things, bro. First, you need to listen very carefully, because a baby evolves first listening and then seeing. So the primary tool to get salvation and to get the truth is to listen. And
So
when you
we
listen, then you use your reason to listen to the wait, bro. So the Quran came down.
Yo, where does it say salvation in the Quran?
Wait, I'm almost finished, bro. Almost finished. So this is profound, right? The Quran came down as to listen to. So first you listen to the Quran, you reflect on it, and then you will use your reason, your intellect, and then you can see the world how it's supposed to be seen. Then you use your seeing. The seeing is secondary. The first thing is listening. So how can you protect yourself, bro? It's listen to the Quran, reflect on the Quran, use your reason and intellect, and then you can avoid the hellfire. Because the people who say I didn't listen and didn't use no reason. So listen to the Quran, bro.
Benny. Listen, in this room right here, Benny, it's all one God, Benny. It's all one God, Benny. That's how we feel in this room. That's why we named it Abrahamic. Okay, Benny? So when you come in here,
this room, they are atheists, bro. In this room, they are atheists.
No, and you want to know something? They're gonna go to heaven too.
Wow, who are you to say that? Who are you?
Who are you to tell? Who are you to tell people they're going to hell?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying people going to hell. I'm not specific. Generally, yeah, general, yes, general, yeah, in general.
Or
in general, yes, but I cannot say Johnny goes to hellfire. I cannot say that. It's not my position.
No, I'll tell you what Benny Bro is saying. So Benny Bro is following the Quran. So Quran, for example, says this group of people will go to hell. So he says, okay, so this is what he's saying. This group of people will go to hell. He's not saying you're part of this group of people.
And what is the qualification of this group of people? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They said it themselves. They said the angels told the people how they end up in hellfire. The angels looked at them stupidly. I say, you humans are stupid. Didn't no warner came to you on earth? Didn't no revelation and messengers came to you and said that you're gonna be tested, and then this day will come, and then
everybody's
you
born
will.
Muslim, right? In the
No,
Quran,
no. What I'm
everybody's
trying to
born
say
Muslim.
is
Is
that
everybody born
if
Muslim
you
in the
Yes.
Quran? Yes.
Yes, everyone's
Right?
born Muslim. Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
what I'm
But
trying
you
to
could
say
lose
is,
your
bro.
Islam. You could lose your Islam.
I didn't lose my Islam, bro. Get out of here.
I'm not saying you lost it. I'm saying you could lose it. It's
Yeah, you
possible.
can lose it. I didn't lose it yet, and I'm not gonna. Alhamdulillah.
Wait. See? Okay, so do you believe Jesus is God?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not Islam. I don't know what
Bro.
It's association,
You
bro.
didn't
That's
tell
the
me.
greatest
Listen to
sin.
me. If the Quran says we're all born Muslim, okay, no matter what walk of life I'm in, I'm made in the image of Allah.
No, you don't. No, stop. Stop this
What?
fakeness, bro. Stop this fakeness. Stop this false hope and this fake message, bro. If you associate
Bro.
partners with Allah, if you associate partners with Allah, if you give the right,
You're not gonna.
Bart, let me give
Listen,
you a clear warning, right?
I
I'm not
love
here to
Islam.
sugarcoat.
I love Islam, and you're
Bart,
not gonna
Bart.
get me to not like Islam, all right?
No,
So I
no,
really don't care what
wait.
you say. All right?
I don't care,
Listen,
bro.
man, I
Islam is
love my
Islam. You
people,
cannot
bro.
change Islam.
I love my
You're
people,
trying to
bro.
change
You
Islam,
ain't
bro.
gonna switch me, bro.
This is Chrislam, bro.
You're not
This
gonna
is not
change me,
Islam. This
bro.
is Chrislam.
You're not
This is
gonna
Bro,
change
this is
me, bro.
Chrislam, bro. This is Chrislam, bro. This
I
is
love
not
my
Islam.
people.
That's
Chrislam.
Chrislam. Islam, bro. He's trying to mix Christianity with Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
Stop it. Stop it, bro. What is this? What is this? What you doing, bro? What you doing? Stop it, bro. Stop it.
Keep
Stop being
saying
fake, bro.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah for Islam. Islam doesn't sugarcoat, bro. It doesn't compromise, Bart. You need to realize Islam is the truth. And truth doesn't compromise. The
Yo,
truth
God
is
is
the
gonna
truth,
punish you for
and
talking
the
to me like
falsehood is
this, bro.
falsehood.
You're gonna punish you for
Bart,
talking to me like this.
no, I'm giving you the truth.
Yes.
If you associate partners with Allah, because Allah is one and absolute, He has no partners. All the perfect names and attributes belongs to Him. If you give it to something else other than Allah, who's only worthy of worship, if you give it to a man, a Messiah who came for the children of Israel, in the son of Mary, the Messiah, if you give that right that only belongs to Allah to a human being who used to drink, who used to eat food and go to the toilet, if you give us that, that is not
You're telling
befitting.
me.
That is not
You're telling
befitting of
me.
His
But you're telling me
perfection.
that
Benny bro,
You're
listen, just wait, Benny bro.
disrespecting.
Did
You're
Muhammad sing the word?
disrespecting. You're
Did Muhammad,
disrespecting Allah, bro.
Wait,
did
listen to the
Muhammad sing
question.
the word of the Lord? Did Muhammad sing the word of the Lord?
Did he what? Say again?
Did he sing the word of the Lord?
Saying the word of the
He
Lord.
did. He sung the Quran.
Recited.
Like,
Yeah, he recited
yeah,
it. Yes.
it was like a song, right, Benny?
It's not a song, but he recited it. Yes.
They say, and a lot of the prayers and a lot of the stuff is sung like a song, right?
Yeah, sure. You could say so.
Yeah. So what? So you're saying that because he spoke the word of God, that's not the word of God? So that's exactly what Jesus did.
Oh, so Jesus isn't God then? In your
Jesus
view.
is God because he's the word. And the word is in your Quran. So
the word has no will, bro.
You can't deny Jesus. Don't deny Jesus.
Jesus has his own will.
Listen, Benny. This is going to be the dividing thing here.
The word of God does it has its own will.
We embrace Muhammad. That's how it works.
They don't believe Jesus has a will. They believe he has the same will as his father.
They say he was the word in the Quran.
No,
it says
it says my father's great and I. He didn't know the hour. Stop, bro. Stop this Islam.
Jesus is the word.
Yeah, but that's our interpretation. Our interpretation is different though, because when we say Jesus is the word of God, the only reason we say it.
All right. So what are you saying that's so much different than what you're saying? Then you're saying the same shit.
No, because our interpretation.
You're arguing with yourself, Benny.
It's not halal.
We already accepted
you need to know the linguistics halal. You need to know.
I know. I seen the interpretation. I'm not doing my.
Don't say duh, bro. This is blasphemy. Don't say that, bro.
I'm going by what the Quran says. I don't think you are.
Yo, why are you so pumped up? Yo,
when the Quran
so pumped up?
Yo, what's up, guys?
So when the Quran says Jesus is the word of God, what it's referring to is because God used his. He just said be, and he just ordered him to be by his words.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it
Jesus,
means.
peace be upon him, everything he done, every word he uttered was word of God. That's what it is. And from our understanding, he even spoke from birth, literally like as a newborn, pretty much.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here?
We're talking about the difference between Jesus and Islam and Christianity.
Oh. Alright, continue.
Yeah, that's all. So when he says he's the word of God, is not that he is like the literal word of God. It's just that God used his speech and ordered him to be, and then he became. That's all. That's all it means.
Andrews, what are you? Andrews, what are you? Are you atheist, Muslim, Christian?
He's Kino. His name is Kino, but someone changed it.
Okay, Kino, what are you?
Muslim. He's Muslim.
I'm convert, yeah.
Oh, convert. Since when, bro? Since when? Alhamdulillah.
6 years ago, bro.
Alhamdulillah, bro. No, you're not a convert anymore. You're not a convert. 6 years ago, then you say, okay.
You're a revert now.
You're a revert. Because you changed yourself all the way. But alhamdulillah, can you tell us a brief story how you came to Islam and what's your background? Brief, if you don't mind, bro. If you don't mind,
I told
please.
everybody here already, but Benny.
But I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I myself don't know your story, Kino.
Yeah.
I thought you were always
brief.
Muslim.
Tell me your background, where you came from, and which previous religion. Tell me, please.
I mean, I went from like half my family is Christian, right? So like my cousins and everything. And then my parents, my mom was born Muslim, my dad, was not really religious like that. But then he became Muslim about a few years ago. And then when they both became Muslim, I was like, damn, like I gotta start looking into it. And then, yeah, man, about 6 years ago, I took my Shahada, We were already, like, I don't know, like my older brother, he's in the Navy, so I don't really see him that much. But I don't really know. I think he's still like just like an atheist, right? But at the same time, yeah, man, it's just like my little brothers, right? They're growing up as Muslims, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alhamdulillah, man, nice, beautiful story, mashallah, mashallah, brother, mashallah. Yeah, it's the best decision you make in life. So now you came back to your natural state, bro.
Yeah, what does mashallah mean? What does that mean?
It's
glory be to God.
Whatever God wants, like God's will or something like that.
Yeah, what Allah wants. Yeah, if Allah wants.
No, that's inshallah, bro.
No, it's inshallah. No, you're right. Mashallah is
But it's almost the same, right?
Come on. The same.
It's almost the same.
What is that again? What is that again? Mashallah. What's that? So,
Allah.
It's when something good happens, or like when something.
Yeah, you don't want hasad.
That's what happens. Yeah.
You don't want
what's the direct linguistic translation? That's what I mean, bro.
Let me look.
Yeah.
God has willed.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I was right. Yeah, but God had willed. Yeah, mashallah. It's like yeah. But it's great, bro. That's man.
Bro. There's a lot of comments.
I know Islam is the fastest growing way of life, bro, and we're still growing. Because the truth is clear from falsehood, bro. Really, if you really want the truth without agendas, without following desires and give it and try to, bro, you're gonna find it if you're willing to sacrifice. You need to sacrifice some things, bro. Maybe you need to sacrifice your girlfriend, sacrifice your desires.
Benny, listen.
Benny, let me explain something to you, Benny. I'm Puerto Rican, and in my culture, we're Catholic.
Bro, the truth has nothing to do with culture and your background.
Dude,
the truth is the truth.
My whole culture to be Muslim. I can't do it.
Bro, what's more important, truth or your culture or your background? What's more important?
My culture.
The truth.
What do you mean?
Wow, this says all. That says it all, bro. So you want the truth to submit to your culture and background?
No, I can know the truth and still keep my culture.
You need to submit to the truth, bro. You need to submit to the truth, and you the choice. And Allah gave you. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
Me and Allah
gave you the.
Because it was
Allah
his
wants you to come freely. Allah wants you to come freely by your own choice.
Then he should have made me. He should have had me. I should have been born
see,
inside.
Hold on.
See, this is the Iblis way of thinking. This is the Iblis way of thinking.
Saudi Arabia.
He should have do that. He should have. Now you blame. Now you don't want to take responsibility for your own choices. Okay, cool.
Guys, one at a time. One at a time. All right, Bart, you want to say something?
No, I'm just saying that I could accept Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the last prophet. I could do that.
Okay, accept it, bro. Then you need to submit to the truth.
It, but I can't
no,
change.
You want the truth to submit to your culture and desires, and you want to modify the truth. You cannot.
Spanish for the rest of my life, Benny.
Bro, look.
Oye, yo voy a seguir hablando español toda mi vida. ¿Tú entiendes?
Benny, bro, you can have your culture, bro. Wait. As a Muslim, listen, Bart.
Benny, yo no voy a cambiar para nada.
Bart, listen very carefully. Please listen. Like I said before, the people of the hellfire end up in hellfire because they don't use listening first and then reasoning, right?
Sending me to hellfire again.
Listen. No, I'm not saying you. No, I'm saying the people of hellfire. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the people of hellfire end up in hellfire because they don't listen first and then use your reason. So first you need to listen and reason. That's why the Quran came down to listen to.
Well, all right. So when I bring
listen, listen.
So
okay, no, you didn't. No, that was not my point. My point is,
I know where you're going.
But give me a few seconds to please listen. This is very important. As a Muslim, you can be a Puerto Rican. You can keep your culture. The only thing is, if some things in your culture is against the approval of God, then you live that. But the rest you can keep your culture. You can keep your language. You can be proud of being a Puerto Rican, right? You can be proud, Bart. There's nothing wrong to be a Muslim Puerto Rican and keep your culture and be proud. But if there's something in your culture, for example, maybe in your culture you like to drink alcohol, for example, or to eat pork, that goes against the approval of God, and that's the only. There's some fine tunings which you culture, and that's it.
Do you know a Puerto Rican that doesn't?
The truth is much important, bro.
We all eat
more important.
That's one
yeah.
So that's your problem. So that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why you don't want to really accept Islam, because you find pork more important than the truth.
No, well, maybe it's because
life is temporary. You're gonna die. You're gonna die soon, bro. You're gonna die soon.
This is what I do, Benny. Right? This is what I do, Benny. Right? See, now that I have kids, right? I raise my kids, right, to respect and love Islam, right, and their tradition, right, and then we can look for a better future, Benny. How about that? See that? It happens slowly, man.
You need
future, Benny.
Your primary look. Let me give it straight to you. I'm not sugarcoat. Your primary responsibility, the number one responsibility as a father, is protect you and your family, your children from the hellfire. That's your primary responsibility. And the rest is secondary, bro. The primary responsibility as a father is to protect yourself and your children and your wife and your loved ones from the hellfire. That's your primary number one responsibility. Are you listening, bro?
Yeah, I'm listening. I agree with you.
Okay, I hope
I want my kids to have
you
love.
Reflect on this.
I want them to have love.
It's good. Okay,
right?
Yeah, it's good that you give them love, bro. I'm nothing against that, bro. It's nothing against that. But first, you need to prioritize things. Number one, number two, number three. Number one on the top of the list. Protect yourself and your children from the hellfire. This is the number one, and then you can prioritize love, give them education and everything. But first, they have to have grounding of the truth, grounding that they don't disappoint their creator and maker.
Yeah, well, they're worried about me first.
Sorry?
They're gonna worry about me first.
Who?
First, you need to have. Bro, you need to.
Wait, say again. Sorry, wait, Benny. Wait, what are you saying, Bart?
They have to worry. They have to respect me. I'm the one bringing them up.
Well, obviously, your children have to respect you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm the one there for them. So they got to respect their father, right? And once they respect their father, it goes into place.
Yeah, of course. No. That's all part of the game. So first, you need to have first yourself need to be grounded. You need to be confident and a good father, show them that love and respect, that guidance to protect them, right? The
Yeah,
first responsibility as a father is to protect your children from harm. And what is the
that's
biggest
it.
harm? What's the biggest harm? It's the hellfire. That's the biggest number one harm of all is to
Yeah,
disappoint your
yeah, but my
creator.
kids know about that
And
stuff,
the
Benny.
hellfire. That's the
I don't
biggest
teach them
harm.
stuff. I don't teach them stuff like
And of
that.
course you're gonna protect them from the society harm, from the harm of society, of
My
gangs,
kids don't even know what
harm
hell is.
of foods
They don't even
and
know what hell
drinks.
is, Benny.
Oh, you didn't talk to them about hell?
They don't even know what it is. They don't even know what hell is, Benny.
Okay, bro. Okay, but maybe they are now too young to talk about. But step by step, you need to,
They'll never
bro.
know about hell.
Look. A good
Far as I'm
relationship
concerned,
is based on.
they don't even know about
Wait,
hell.
one thing. But
stop,
no,
Benny,
no,
Benny.
wait. Well, one thing, bro. One thing, then I'm done. One thing, then I'm done. But you need to realize that this is very important, right? A good, healthy, balanced relationships is based on love, hope, and fear. Those three things needs to be in balance. But because if you give your children only love, that's not enough. They're gonna disrespect you and everything. If you give them the only hope, they're gonna be in trouble, in danger, because you don't. So you have to give them three things. Then your children are ready for the real world, for this test. Are you listening, Bart? This is very important. You have to give them three things, very grounded
I'm
and
listening,
balanced.
Benny. I'm
Okay,
listening.
okay. Listen. You have to give them three things that's very balanced, and then you have great children who can change societies. That is, one is love, two is hope, and three is fear. Those three things you need to be grounded in your children. If they have that balanced, then they are ready for the real world. If you only give one is imbalanced, bro. They are not ready. So love, hope, and fear. And what is the best love and hope and fear? It's God. You need to love God. You need to have hope in God that He will forgive you and have mercy on you. And you need to fear Him. All those three, that's the true believer. And I hope you can give that to your children, bro. And may God, Allah, the true God, guide us
Bart,
and forgive us.
why don't you talk about hell to your children?
Because I don't need to. It's not important.
Did they go to church?
We haven't gone to church in a while. No, we haven't gone to church in a long time. Since COVID. My daughter, should I say, because my kids are very young, so.
Okay. Maybe that's why you don't, when they're too young, you don't talk about hell.
Bro, even as a parent, forget about God at this moment. Even as a parent, you need to give them love, hope, and fear. If you only give them love, they're gonna disrespect you, bro. If you go, you know what I'm trying to say? If you give them only fear, then there is no love. So you need to give them love, sometimes hope, sometimes fear. Sometimes you need to punish them and say, if you do this, you're gonna be punished. This is the healthiest relationship, bro, with your children. It's love, hope, and fear. So please give them also fear, bro. Give them also fear of there's gonna be consequences of your choices in life, because when they get older, they need to realize that everything has a consequence. Every choice has a dynamo effect, because God placed a system on earth that you cannot get away with bad choices. It will hunt you back, bro. So your children need to be ready for this real life test. Is that every bad choice has a consequence. Every choice has a consequence. And there's the fear that they need to be fear that they are not alone, because your children gonna be grow old and they don't need you. They will be independent. They don't need you, and they'll be alone, and then they can do very evil things if they want to. So you need to bring them fear that even if you are alone, God is with you. He sees everything, hears everything, and you will be accountable for everything you do. So Bart, this is very important to teach your children that there is accountability and there is consequence for everything that you do. Do you understand, Bart? That you have to teach your children that your children are not alone. That God is watching. Do you teach your children that, Bart? It's very important, right?
Right now, they're worried about Santa Claus watching them. That's
wow. Wow, Bart, you're crazy, man.
But Bart, but when they find the truth, they'll start crying, like it happens to every kid.
Bart, it's better they should love Santa than have old rapey Muhammad show up and want to diddle kids.
Fox News alert, Fox News alert. Some brainwashed Fox News alert in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so convinced about Muhammad being a child molester. I'm not really convinced on that. I never say that argument.
Bro, nobody used that argument. It's only the last 50 years with Islam haters come with this new. Even his enemies used to call him a magician, a madman, possessed, but they never called him a pedophile.
So Benny, let me ask you a few questions here, right?
Only the last 50 years, bro. So it's just.
So let me ask you a few questions here, right? So
yeah,
with Muhammad, right? When Muhammad was
peace be upon him.
Yes, peace be upon him. When he was speaking the word, when he's singing the word, right, to his people,
reciting.
Well, it's sung. They sing.
No, it's not. No, it's a different genre. It's a recitation.
Okay. So now, most of these guys that were passed it on to the next generation, they died in battle, right? And then there was just this one guy that was left to actually.
No, that's not true.
Who was it?
No, that's not true.
So there was about 300. So there was about a few hundred people that had memorized the full Quran, and then what happened was there was a battle, and since they had people that wrote it down on parchment and like wood, bone, a bunch of other pieces, right? They also had a oral recitation way of passing it through to future generations, and a few of them died. Like roughly around 200 died, 200 to 300 of them died, and there was just about that many left as well. So what they did was they gathered everybody that memorized it, and then they gathered all the manuscripts that they had, and then they wrote it down into the Uthmani Mus'haf. That's
so there was stuff written on leather. I heard there was stuff written on leather. There was stuff written on clothes, right?
We lost one. We lost. Okay.
It's written on both parchment paper. There's the wood that's from the trees. There's like wood that's been made for.
Yeah, there was some leather pieces that were written down. There's some clothing, or should you say what?
A little bit,
cloth or something, right?
Yeah.
Like there was written on so much different stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the whole Quran and compiled. It wasn't that. Also, we lost one page from the Quran.
You lost more than a page.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, we lost one.
You
page.
lost a lot more than a page. In the fire, you guys lost a lot of stuff.
No, there's no fire. Hala, what are you talking about?
You don't know the hadith about the goat? You know, where we lost the page about stoning and...
That's abrogation. Please don't...
No, we lost the page about stoning to death.
No, I
know. Bro, what you talking about?
You
lost the page. Wait, let me say something quickly to Halal.
So dumb, bro.
Yeah, Hala. What are you talking about pages?
Actually retarded. Who'd you hear from, bro?
Yeah, what'd you hear from,
Let me
bro?
find it for you.
No, even in the truth, man.
It's literally a myth, dude.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about, man.
And I know what you're talking about. I know the one he's talking about. It's reported in the Sunan Ibn Majah, right, where it talks about the verses of stoning.
Okay, why are you denying it then?
Adults 10 times because it's a freaking myth.
So
you fed this shit by Eisenhower, bro.
He don't think it's a myth. So why is he wrong? He's not wrong.
Because he doesn't know.
But he does know. He knows more than you. He knows more than you.
He doesn't.
Yes, he does. I'm telling you, he does.
How do you know who does?
I know he does.
How do you know?
I've tested him.
You've never tested me.
Yeah, trust me. Every time you open your mouth, I know you don't know shit.
How do you know? You don't even know.
You don't think that I know? You don't think I know about the Quran?
Bro, I
Wait,
can't
what,
believe
really?
you actually
You wanna
think
go there?
it's real though. By the way,
You want to go there?
Can I say
Just
one thing?
explain how it's a myth. Go ahead.
Hello,
'Cause I
hello. One thing.
Hey,
Hello,
Jazz
one
already
thing.
explained this.
Wait. One thing. Hello. You need to have your mindset in check, bro. Because the Quran didn't came down as a book and pages.
I
It
know.
came down as a as a speech.
Yeah. Calm
So
down, Benny. Don't be over
even if
here
you go,
dissing my
oh,
brothers,
yeah,
bro. Yo, don't be doing that, Benny. Yo, Allah hangs on you all the time. Chill out, bro.
Hello. Even if the goat ate the whole Quran, who cares? The
No,
Quran was memorized by heart, by
but God,
speech.
no, there was a hadith where God made us actually forget one certain verses with
It's
the
called
companions.
it's called
of the Prophet.
abrogation. It's called
Abrogation, of
abrogation,
course.
and there's
It's,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong,
You
bro.
actually need to get your brain checked, Halal. Like, how do you not know this? I know some bro. I know who you've been talking
Yo,
to.
Allah,
That
just
they've
let
been
him go.
feeding you
Just
like
all
this
right.
bullshit.
He concedes. He finished. All right, let it go. Let it go, man. Fuck. Who's gonna turn to Allah? Fucking. Are you gonna bash Allah now? Get out of here, bro.
No, but he's talking like it's something
you guys out.
something
I'm gonna
great or
say.
something.
Guys
Hello,
are
you're
not
talking
gonna
like,
stop
oh,
bullying
God ate the page, like it's something,
Just
some
because
problem or
you guys
something.
don't believe the same shit he does.
It's not a problem, bro.
It's
You guys talk
narrated.
shit about Christians all the time, and then you guys are gonna come over here and start doing the same shit.
Let me just bring the hadith for you because you guys are just denying.
I know the
I'm not
hadith.
denying it. I'm not denying it, bro.
Hello. This guy actually, I swear you don't actually check your sources, man. Have you studied hadith? No, you haven't.
Yes, I know how hadith work.
Okay, explain that. Explain. Go ahead and tell me the authenticity.
Yo,
of
that was a
narration.
weak hadith too. You guys are reading from some soft ass hadith, bro.
Okay, so
That hadith ain't strong enough, man. The one that Halah's reading is strong, man. Get out of here. You guys are reading a weak hadith.
So the hadith I'm talking. So how the hadith work is there is the chain of narration. If it's reliable, we check if the people are trustworthy in it and what they have done. If they're not too old, not too young, if they don't have memory problems, all those things. And also if it follows with the Sunnah, doesn't go against the Quran. Those are the two things. Like this is a general case on how to know if a hadith is accepted or not. There's multiple books, but the only two books I take from is Bukhari and Muslim because those are the two most famous. There's other people like Al-Albani and other sheikh that did some authentications, but
Yo, Benny, is that a strong hadith, Benny? That he's reading from? Or is it a weak hadith?
It's a weak hadith.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So send it then, because the hadith I'm trying to find it.
Wait,
I'm
so
just finding.
Wait, hold on. Are you?
I'm just finding.
Are you more knowledgeable? What's his name? Sheikh Shubayt?
Sheikh. No, I'm not more knowledgeable than any shayukh. I'm just saying.
Right. So.
I'm just saying.
And the shayukh, what did they classify it, man?
Show me. I don't know.
I classified it da'if.
Okay, then show it to me. Show me the proof. Because when I heard this hadith, I thought it seemed like it was
authentic. Who'd you hear this from?
No.
Who'd you hear this from?
I promise you, I saw it on YouTube video.
You're reading out of some weak ass hadiths, bro. That's all I gotta tell you, man.
Yo, you're too funny, bro. You're too funny.
Oh, I think it was a Shia source then. I think I'm mixing stuff. Because we have the same hadith.
Pimars, you taking a shower? Hello?
So go in 1944.
Was it specific? Was it general? Many things you have to take in consideration into the package of knowledge, bro, into hadith. So please, bro, hold your judgment before you jump.
Allah, you need to stop debating people. I'm being serious, bro.
I didn't debate anyone. We weren't debating.
There's no way.
No, I'm not talking to you, bro. I'm not
You saw this
talking
on
in general.
YouTube, you said, and then you ran with it.
Yeah, I saw this on Asim Al Hakim. Let me just find the video for you.